Welcome back to the Carmanic Car Quiz. Here are the answers. There were 5 rounds, each with 10 questions, so mark yourself out of 50. Let me know how you do in the comments, and if you disagree with any of my answers, also let me know. Let's get into it. So, first round. First question. Honda's official tuning partner is called what? Well, if you're familiar with the Gran Turismo games, you'll know that is Mugen. Number 2, the racing was the performance version of what Super Mini? That was the Citroen DS3. Number 3, the 22B is a homologation special of what car? That is, of course, the Subaru Impreza. What car was the first launched under the Renault Sport sub-brand? That was the Spider, before they got to the Clios and the Mugans, and even the Twingo. What is the only production car to feature a V12 diesel engine? That was the Audi Q7, which had a monstrous 6-litre V12 diesel engine. The letters HGT are associated to what brand's performance models? That is Fiat, which had the Bravo HGT and the Punto HGT in the late 90s, early noughties. Number 7, Viggen is the hottest version of what car? That is the Saab 9.3, and Viggen is the Swedish for lightning, I believe. Number 8, what Japanese car offered a version called the GT-TI, which had a 100 horsepower 1-litre turbocharged engine? That was the Daihatsu Charade, and that was a crazy little car, that was. Number 9, what was the name of Volvo's high-performance V60, which then went on to become its own brand? That is Polestar. And finally, number 10, the Mitsubishi Evolution nameplate is only adorned one other model. That is the Pajero. The Pajero is their off-roading type model. They made a high-performance version of it. In the UK, the Pajero was sold as the Shogun, so if you put Shogun, then I would say that's also right, but the Pajero never came to Europe, as far as I know. The Pajero Evolution, sorry. So, yeah, that's that car. Okay, round 2. She's electric. So, question 1. Tesla's first ever model was based on what? Well, their first model was the Roadster, and that was based on the Lotus Elise. Number 2. What was Volkswagen's 2-cylinder diesel plug-in hybrid called? That is the XL1, with its crazy gull-wing doors and carbon fibre body. Number 3. E-Tense is the name given to electrified versions of the cars from what brand? That is DS. Number 4, the Think City electric car is most associated with what global car company? That is Ford, which I believe either owned them or funded them. And I think in some markets it was sold as the Ford Think. What is Hyundai's fuel cell hydrogen car? So that is the Nexo. That's the one that you can go and buy. I think you can still in the UK, in Europe. The iX35 was a prototype car that was only available in limited numbers for fleet testing. Number 6, the Gemera is a plug-in hybrid Super GT from what manufacturer? That is Koenigsegg. The EP9 is the world's fastest production electric car on the ring. Chinese brand NIO made that car. It's quite surprising. Number 8, the all-electric EV1 was the only vehicle to be directly branded under what automotive giant? That is General Motors, which I think was in the 90s. And they tried to be ahead of the curve with this electric car. Number 9, complete the trio, Mitsubishi i-MiEV, Citroen C0 and Peugeot Ion. So the Peugeot and Citroen are rebadged versions of the Mitsubishi. They were little small electric cars. Finally, number 10, Cadillac offered a hybrid coupe based on the Chevrolet Volt. What was it called? The ELR. That's a nice looking car, that. Okay, round 3. Dude, is that a Supra? If you haven't figured it out, the title of the round is a bit of a clue for one of the pictures. So, picture 1 is, of course, the Alfa Romeo 4C with its spider eye lights. I think I prefer the single lens units of the spider. Number 2 is the TVR Sagaris. It's a Perspex spoiler. Number 3 is the Fiat Barchetta. Number 4 is the BMW Z3. Number 5 is that Toyota Supra, the latest one, the A90, with its very fussy design with its creases everywhere. Number 6 is the Infiniti Q60, which is a nice looking car that was sold in the UK in very, very limited numbers. Number 7 is the Renault Espace with its very famous wing mirror design. I believe they are the vents for the ventilation system. That's the inlet. Number 8 is the Vauxhall VX220 or the Opel Speedster if you're in Europe. It's stacked exhausts. Number 9 is the MGGS. I know that's a bit unfair if you are in Europe because it wasn't sold there. It was only sold in the UK market, in Europe, as well as obviously China. And number 10 is the Smart Forfour. Round 4, Das ist super, our round on supercars. So, what engine configuration powered Porsche Carrera GT? It was a V10. Number 2, Honda revived what nameplate in 2016 with a V6 hybrid supercar? That was the NSX. Number 3, the Bora and Kamzin are historic models from what manufacturer? That is Maserati. What is America's legendary V10 supercar? The Dodge Viper, or the SRT10 as it was known in the UK, of the second generation. Number 5, what was McLaren's first road car as a standalone brand since the F1, and that was ignoring the Mercedes-McLaren SLR. It was the MP412C, very rememberably named. Just code really, isn't it? Number 6, what model replaced Pagani's long-lived Zonda? It was the Huayra. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. Number 7, the functional Malo concept previewed a twin-cylinder supercar from what company? It was Volkswagen. It had a W12, which was a preview of the engine that went into the Phaeton and the Bentley Continental GT. Number 8, MG supercar attempt based on the Cavale Mangusta was called what? That was the SV. There's a bit of a story around how that came about, but Cavale Mangusta being an Italian car, that then was sold to MG to make their own version of the car. Number 9, what country does the electric supercar company Rimac come from? It is Croatia. And finally, the C8 Aileron is a luxury supercar from what brand? is from Spyker, and that was a lovely car. And finally, round 5, 3 is a magic number, so this is to complete the sequence round. So I give you 2 examples of one thing, and you need to tell me what comes next in the sequence by working out what I'm talking about. So, number 1, hopefully this wasn't too complicated and you got it. So, Countach Diablo, I'm talking about the V12 Lamborghinis, the flagship cars. Next up was the Murcielago that replaced the Diablo. Number 2, what's next? Jetta, Vento, what? Well, I'm talking about the booted versions of the Golf. So Jetta was the name given to the Mark 1 and Mark 2 versions, Vento for the Mark 3 Golf sedan, and for the Mark 4 Golf sedan it was the Bora before they went back to the Jetta name, the latter generations. Number 3, what's next? Bug-eye, Blob-eye, what? I'm talking about nicknames given to the 2nd generation Impreza for its various facelifts, and the 3rd version of that is the Hawkeye. Number 4, 964, 993, what's next? Well, I'm obviously talking about the generations of Porsche 911, and the next one was the 996, which was the first one to be water-cooled. Number 5, what's next? E39, E60, what? Well, you might have worked out I'm talking about BMWs. I'm talking about the 5 Series sedan, and the next one is the F10. That might be a bit tricky, that one. Number 6, what's next? Arona, Ateca, what? Well, I'm actually talking about the Seat SUV range, going from smallest to largest. So the Arona being the B segment, Ateca being the C segment, and the Tarraco being their 7-seat D segment offering. What's next? ZX Zara. What replaced the Zara? It was the C4, so I'm talking about Citroen's C segment offering. Number 8, what's next? EK9, EP3, what? Well, these are the generations of Honda Civic Type R, EK9 being the first one that we didn't get in Europe, EP3 being the famous one, and FN2 being the space age looking one. Number 9, what's next? Evoque, Velar, what? Well, again, I'm talking about Range Rovers, the SUV range going up from the smallest to the largest, or up the ladder. So Evoque being the smallest, Velar being the next up, and then the Range Rover Sport being the next one above the Velar, and below the full-blown Range Rover. And finally, GTE, GSI, what? Well, I'm talking about the letters given to Vauxhall's high-performance cars, GTE in the 80s, GSI through the 90s, and then they used VXR, or OPC if you're in Europe and with Opel cars. Ironically, they brought back GSI after VXR on some warmer Vauxhalls, and have now gone to GSE for their electrified performance cars, and GTE has actually gone to Volkswagen for their high performance electric cars. Volkswagen's plug-in faster electric cars like the Golf and the Passat. Okay, well, thank you for playing. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, let me know how you did. Let me know if you found the quiz interesting and exciting, too hard, too easy, good doing it as a video, and yeah, maybe I'll do another one in the future, who knows. But yeah, let me know if it's worthwhile.